Yesterday, here was the performance of the day. Game 1, Western Conference Finals, Suns and Clippers. No Chris Paul, no Kawhi Leonard, but we did have Paul George and we did have Devin Booker. Pick it up in the third. Clippers down by 3, but Paul George not going away. He had 32 points through 3 quarters. Just over 2 minutes to go now in the third. Suns down by 5. How good is Devin Booker? Just unstoppable. That was his 12th straight point. He would make another bucket, make it 14 straight. And here we go. That's 16 straight points for Devin Booker in a great game. Tied at 93 after 3. Under 3 to go in the fourth. Suns starting to pull away. They're up by 7. Now we got a steal. Now we're running. Bridges, Booker, Bridges. The alley-oop slam. Suns by 9. They're pulling away. But LA had one more gas in them. Under 30 to go. Down by 5. Terrence Mann knocks down a 3. It's a 2-point game out of a Suns timeout. 22 seconds to go. Oh, we got a defensive breakdown. That's Booker with the drive. He would score 40 in a triple-double. Paul George had 34, but not enough. Phoenix takes game 1, 120 to 114. Devin Booker is a star. He's the 6th player in NBA history to record multiple 40-point games in his first career postseason. And the list that he joins is a great one. Luka Doncic, LeBron James, Bob McAdoo, Rick Barry, and Wilt Chamberlain. Spectacular. Speaking of spectacular, back to the NFL we go, and Tom Brady turns 44 in August, and he's showing no signs of slowing down. Back in May, Buccaneers GM Jason Light suggested Brady could play till he's 50. Well, Brady addressed those comments in USA Today, saying 50, that's a long time. Even for me, that's a long time. I've always said 45 was the age I wanted to reach, and that was my goal. This year I'll be 44. Next year I'll be 45. I got a 2-year contract. I'm going to be able to obviously play this year, and God forbid anything happens, but play next year and then see what happens after that. If I still want to keep playing, I might be able to do that. And if that's enough, then that would be enough. So he's giving us a sense of where we can finally see, potentially, the end of what is the greatest career in the history of the sport. And Mike Tannenbaum, you were making the point this morning that there is sneaky big news about another move the Bucs have made this offseason that might wind up being extraordinarily important.
That's right, Greeny. For all the great things that Tampa Bay did, bringing the band back together, drafting Kyle Trask, quarterback from Florida, in the bottom of the second round may be the biggest transaction because the old axiom, let's win for today and develop for tomorrow. Trask was unbelievably productive the last 2 years. It was 69% completion this year at Florida. And when you think about who better to learn from than Byron Leftwich, Tom Brady, Clyde Christensen, who coached Peyton Manning and countless others, it's an ideal situation where if in 2 years Tom Brady finally retires, you may have your next quarterback. And it's a great way of setting things up, not just for today, but if I'm Tampa Bay, hopefully for the next 5-10 years.
I like that point and that take. So we're developing for tomorrow. That makes sense. Chris, let's talk about the winning for today. This Buccaneers team, as he mentioned, is absolutely loaded. Right now, how would you describe the degree to which you would see them as the favorites in the NFC?
I think they're the prohibitive favorite in the NFC. I mean, there's a short list of teams that you would see challenging them. If Aaron Rodgers goes back to the Packers, it would be Green Bay and the Los Angeles Rams. And Greeny, in my mind, that's about it. So, I mean, based on what they've done this offseason, being able to retain all 22 starters, I think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have to be viewed as the leader in the clubhouse out of the NFC. And for Tom Brady in particular, the fact that he put an expiration date on his career, a guy that's been able to keep that chip on his shoulder for 21 seasons, I got to think that he's going to be intent on maximizing the final 2 chapters of his career. He's not going to take anything for granted, especially knowing that he has a championship caliber supporting cast anchoring him. So I just feel like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers over the next couple of years have to be viewed as a team out of the NFC that's going to be representing them in the Super Bowl.
Well, Graz, you do a feature called Overreaction or Not Overreaction. If people were to say it's the Buccaneers over the field in the NFC, would that be an overreaction?
It's not an overreaction because they're the best team on paper, right? And the division looks like it might be taking a step back. We don't know what the Saints are going to look like in the post-Drew Brees era, for example. But, I mean, we've had this conversation over and over again. I mean, it's so hard to repeat in the NFL. They had great, for instance, they had great injury luck last year in terms of guys lost to, games lost to injury. That doesn't necessarily repeat itself year after year. Not that you're wishing that on anybody, but look, they have Brady. He overcomes a lot of things. We talked about their deficiencies all last year, and there they were in January and February delivering. So I don't know why we would doubt him. He says he wants to play till he's 45. I just assume he's going to play till he's 45. And yeah, he might win the next couple Super Bowls because That's what he does.
It is just ridiculous the degree to which he has completely rewritten the way we look at stuff. We are talking about a 44-year-old athlete, and we're saying, well, he overcomes a lot of
right?
This has never happened before, certainly in all the years we've been covering sports, and far longer than that. In the meantime, another of the huge events of the weekend on Father's Day was delivered by that man, the comeback of the day for Jon Rahm in the final round of the U.S. Open. A back nine where the best players in the world were just chewed up and spit out, and it came down to Rahm and Louis Oosthuizen, and this was Jon Rahm on 17, rolling in a bomb, the 25-foot bender, and that put him in a tie for the lead. Rahm, with all the drama of 2 weeks ago when he tested positive for COVID after the third round of the Memorial with a 6-shot lead, he comes to 18 now with 18 feet for birdie, rolls that in and posts to 67, your clubhouse leader at 6 under. So Oosthuizen, still on the course, needed to find a birdie somewhere. What he couldn't afford to do was this. That's a bogey on 17. He would tap in, and that would be just about all she wrote. So as Rahm was staying loose, Oosthuizen needs to knock this in on the par 5 18th in order to force a playoff, and he couldn't do it. What an extraordinary story and comeback for Jon Rahm. The newborn baby is there. The celebration is on. Phil Mickelson there to congratulate him as Jon Rahm pulls off a win for the ages after having to withdraw at the Memorial with a 6-shot 54-hole lead. He wins his first career major in his 20th start. He regains the top spot in the world golf rankings along the way, leaping Dustin Johnson and Justin Thomas. What an extraordinary weekend for Jon Rahm. As we continue, coming up, Dak Prescott reveals the 3 biggest secrets to